The small shuttle drifted between two large asteroids, its engines powered down to avoid detection. Lisa Hayes stared at the damage reports scrolling across her screen. They had barely escaped from the Zephyrian homeworld, but their ship was falling apart around them. "Hull breach in Section 3 is getting worse," Beth Carter reported from the engineering station. Blood ran down her arm from a piece of metal that had cut her during their escape. "I can patch it, but we need parts. I don't have." Dr. Kate Morrison sat in the corner, shaking. She kept mumbling about how she should have seen the trap coming. Lisa wanted to comfort her, but right now they had bigger problems. Lyra Starweaver moved silently around the small cabin, checking every surface with her hands. The young elf had escaped with them, but barely. Her usually perfect elvish features showed cuts and bruises from the fight. "The communication array took a direct hit," Beth continued. "I can't reach Earth or the elvish worlds with normal radio. We need something stronger." "What about quantum entanglement communication?" Lisa asked. Beth shook her head. "The quantum transmitter was destroyed. Even if I could fix it, we'd need rare crystals that only exist in—" She stopped and looked at Lyra. "Elvish focusing stones," Lyra said quietly. "I have some." She reached into her belt pouch and pulled out 3 small crystals that glowed with inner light. "Those are for magic," Dr. Morrison said, finally looking up. "They won't work with human technology." "Maybe they will if we combine them properly," Beth said, studying the crystals. "I've heard theories about mixing magic and technology, but no one has ever tried it." Lisa made a decision. "Do it. We have to warn Earth and the elvish worlds about what's coming." Beth and Lyra worked together for hours, while Lisa kept watch for Zephyrian patrol ships. It was strange to see human engineering and elvish magic working side by side. Beth would connect wires and circuit boards, while Lyra would touch them with her crystals and whisper words in the old elvish language. "I think it's working," Beth said finally. "The crystals are somehow amplifying the quantum signal. I've never seen readings like this before." "Try to contact Earth first," Lisa ordered. The makeshift communication system crackled to life. Static filled the air, then suddenly a voice came through clearly. "This is Terra Station Control. Identify yourself. This is Commander Lisa Hayes, of the diplomatic mission to the Zephyrian Empire," Lisa said quickly. "I need to speak with Admiral Claire Thompson immediately. We have an emergency." Minutes passed that felt like hours. Then Admiral Thompson's familiar voice came through the speakers. "Lisa, thank goodness. We lost contact with you 2 days ago. What's your status?" "Admiral, the Zephyrians have betrayed us. They captured most of our team and destroyed the New Dawn. This was all a trap. They're planning to invade both human and elvish space." There was silence on the other end for a long moment. Then Admiral Thompson spoke again, her voice grim. "How many ships do they have?" "Hundreds," Lisa replied. "Maybe thousands. They've been building their fleet for centuries while we focused on exploration and peace." "Understood. I'm ordering all fleet units back to Sol System immediately. Can you reach the Elvish High Council?" "We're trying now," Lisa said. Lyra took over the communication controls, speaking in rapid Elvish to contact her home world. Soon, the voice of High Priestess Seraphina Dawnbringer came through the speakers, speaking in accented but clear human language. "Commander Hayes, we have heard terrible news. What of Captain Arya and our other people?" Lisa's heart hurt as she answered. "They were captured, Priestess. Arya and the others fought bravely to help us escape, but the Zephyrians took them prisoner." "Then we must prepare for war," Seraphina said simply. "The ancient treaties between our peoples require it. An attack on one is an attack on both." "How long do we have?" Admiral Thompson asked. Lisa looked at her tactical display. "Based on what I saw, they could reach the outer colonies in 3 days, Earth and the Elvish core worlds in a week." "Not enough time," Thompson muttered. "Our fleets are scattered across a dozen systems." "We have assets closer than you think," Seraphina said. "The war trees sleep, but they can be awakened. Battle mages who have not fought for 100 years will take up their staffs again." While the two commanders planned their response, Beth continued monitoring Zephyrian communications. Her face grew pale as she listened. "Commander," she whispered, "I'm picking up chatter from their fleet. They're talking about our prisoners." Lisa felt cold fear grip her heart. "What are they saying?" Dr. Morrison and the others are being held on Admiral Vex's flagship, but they're planning to separate the elves from the humans. They want to study elvish magic to find ways to counter it. On the elvish world of Valthara, the captured elves were indeed being taken to special holding cells designed to block magical abilities. But the Zephyrians did not understand that elvish magic was not just about individual power. It was about connection to nature and to each other. Celeste Nightglow, one of the captured elvish mages, pressed her hand against the wall of her cell. The metal was cold and sterile, nothing like the living wood and stone of her homeworld. But even here she could feel something. "Amy," she whispered to Lieutenant Amy Foster in the next cell. "Can you hear me?" "Barely," Amy replied. "How are you talking to me? I thought they blocked your magic." "They blocked me from reaching outside this ship," Celeste explained. "But they cannot stop me from connecting to other elves nearby. I can feel Arya and the others. They are alive. Can you contact them?" "Yes. But more importantly, I can contact our people back at the asteroid field." While the Zephyrians celebrated their easy victory, they had no idea that their prisoners were already working to escape. More importantly, they were gathering intelligence about Zephyrian ship designs, weapons, and battle plans. Back in the asteroid field, Lisa received Celeste's magical communication with amazement. The elvish mage was able to share detailed information about the Zephyrian fleet composition and their invasion timeline. "They're planning to attack the human colonies first," Lisa reported to Admiral Thompson. "They think if they can defeat us quickly, the elves will surrender rather than fight alone." "They're wrong about that," came Seraphina's voice, now hard as steel. "The elves do not abandon their friends." "Neither do humans," Admiral Thompson replied. "We've been allies for 50 years. That's not changing now." The communication session lasted for hours as the three women planned humanity and elvish kind's defense. But Lisa knew that even working together, they were badly outnumbered. "We need to buy more time," she said finally. "The main fleets can't get into position fast enough." "What do you suggest?" Thompson asked. Lisa looked at her small, damaged shuttle and the brave people who had escaped with her. "We stay here and keep gathering intelligence. The Zephyrians think we're dead. That gives us an advantage." "Too dangerous," Thompson said immediately. "Admiral, with respect, we're the only source of real-time information you have about their fleet movements. If we can stay hidden and keep feeding you data, it might make the difference." Seraphina spoke up. "The human commander is right. Sometimes the smallest light can shine the brightest in the darkness." And so it was decided. While massive fleets prepared for battle across the galaxy, 4 survivors in a damaged shuttle would remain behind enemy lines. Their mission was simple, but deadly dangerous. Watch, listen, and survive long enough to give their people every advantage possible in the coming war. As the communication ended, Lisa looked around at her small crew. Beth was already back to work repairing their systems. Lyra sat in meditation, maintaining the magical links to their captured friends. Dr. Morrison had stopped shaking and was now taking notes about everything they had learned about Zephyrian culture. They were alone in enemy territory, but they were not giving up. The Zephyrians had made a mistake when they let these 4 escape. Now they would learn what humans and elves could accomplish when they worked together. Commander Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of the New Dawn, watching the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. She felt nervous but excited about this mission. Today would mark the first contact between their alliance and the Zephyrian Empire. After months of careful planning, they were finally here. Captain Arya Moonwhisper walked up beside her. The elf woman had silver hair that fell past her shoulders and bright green eyes that seemed to glow in the bridge lighting. She wore the traditional blue and silver uniform of the elvish fleet, but carried both human technology and elvish magic items on her belt. "The Zephyrians are responding to our signals," Arya said in her soft voice. "They want to meet on the surface of their capital world. Ambassador Vex herself will greet us." Lisa nodded. She trusted Arya completely. They had worked together for 3 years now, ever since the human and elf governments formed their alliance. The elf captain had saved Lisa's life twice during pirate attacks in the outer systems. Dr. Kate Morrison hurried onto the bridge carrying her data pad and looking worried as always. Kate was the best alien culture expert in the fleet. She had studied the Zephyrians for months using the few radio signals they had intercepted. "I still think we should be more careful," Kate said. "The Zephyrians have been very quiet for centuries. We don't know why they suddenly want to talk to us now." "That's exactly why this mission is so important," Lisa replied. "If we can make peace with them, it opens up half the galaxy for exploration and trade." Beth Carter looked up from her engineering console. "All systems are green, Commander. The ship is ready for anything." Lisa smiled at her chief engineer. Beth was young but brilliant with technology. She could fix anything that broke and often improved it while she was working on it. The communications system chimed, and the face of Admiral Zyra Vex appeared on the screen. The Zephyrian woman had blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. Small crystal formations grew from her forehead in a crown-like pattern. Her eyes were completely black, with no visible pupils. "Welcome, representatives of humanity and the elvish worlds," Vex said. Her voice sounded friendly, but something about her expression made Lisa uncomfortable. "We are honored to finally meet our new neighbors." "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting," Lisa replied formally. "We hope this will be the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples." "Indeed," Vex smiled, but the expression did not reach her eyes. "Please bring your entire diplomatic team to the surface. We have prepared a great celebration in your honor." Lisa felt Arya tense beside her. The elf captain had excellent instincts about people. If Arya was worried, maybe they should be more careful. "We'll bring a small team first," Lisa said. "Standard diplomatic protocol." "Nonsense," Vex said quickly. "This is a historic moment. All of your people should witness it. We insist." The screen went dark before Lisa could respond. She looked at Arya, who was frowning deeply. "Something feels wrong," Arya whispered. "My magical senses are tingling. There's deception here." But orders were orders, and this mission was too important to abandon because of a feeling. Lisa made the decision to take the full diplomatic team down to the planet. Besides Dr. Morrison and several other human specialists, the team included Lyra Starweaver and 3 other elvish experts in magic and culture. The landing went smoothly. The Zephyrian capital was beautiful with tall crystal towers that caught and reflected sunlight in amazing patterns. Thousands of blue-skinned people lined the streets to watch the visitors arrive. Admiral Vex met them at the landing platform with a large group of other Zephyrian officials. Everyone was smiling and the atmosphere seemed festive. Maybe Arya's concerns were just normal pre-mission nerves. "Welcome to Zephyros Prime," Vex said, spreading her arms wide. "Let us show you the wonders of our civilization." They were led to a huge amphitheater carved from living crystal. Tens of thousands of Zephyrians filled the seats, all cheering and waving. Lisa felt proud to represent humanity at such an important moment. "Please take your places on the platform." Vex gestured to a raised area in the center of the amphitheater. As the diplomatic team moved onto the platform, Lisa noticed that Zephyrian guards had quietly surrounded them. She started to feel the same unease that Arya had shown earlier. "Now," Vex said loudly so the crowd could hear, "let us show these inferior species what the Zephyrian Empire thinks of trespassers in our space." Energy barriers suddenly snapped into place around the platform, trapping the diplomatic team. The cheering crowd fell silent, and their expressions changed from celebration to hatred. Zephyrian soldiers raised energy weapons that hummed with deadly power. "You walked right into our trap," Vex laughed. "Did you really think we would treat you as equals? Humans with your crude technology and elves with your primitive magic? You are nothing compared to the might of the Zephyrian Empire." Arya tried to cast a spell, but nothing happened. "They have psionic dampeners," she said through gritted teeth. "I can't access my magic." Lisa reached for her weapon, but the energy barrier shocked her hand when she touched it. They were completely trapped. "Take them to the prison ships," Vex ordered. "We'll need to study them before we begin the invasion of their pathetic worlds." But Arya had not given up. Even without her magic, she was still a trained warrior. She threw herself at one of the guards and managed to grab his weapon. "Lisa, run!" Lyra Starweaver joined the fight, using her natural elf speed and agility to confuse the guards. In the chaos that followed, Lisa and Beth managed to break free from the energy barrier. "This way," Beth shouted, pointing toward a maintenance tunnel. She had spotted with her engineer's eye for detail. Lisa grabbed Dr. Morrison's arm and pulled her toward the tunnel. Behind them, she could hear Arya and Lyra fighting desperately to buy them time to escape. They ran through narrow crystal tunnels while alarms blared throughout the city. Beth led them through a maze of passages until they reached a service bay where their shuttle was parked. The Zephyrian guards had not thought to secure it, since they expected to capture everyone. As their shuttle lifted off, Lisa saw Zephyrian ships rising from the surface to chase them. Energy beams flashed past their windows as Beth pushed the engines to maximum power. "Where's the new dawn?" Lisa asked desperately. "There!" Beth pointed to a bright flash of light in orbit. Lisa's heart sank as she realized they were watching their ship explode. The Zephyrians had destroyed their home and captured most of their friends. Now a small, damaged shuttle was all that stood between them and certain death. As they fled toward the outer system, Lisa could see the Zephyrian fleet forming up behind them. The trap had been perfect, and they had walked right into it. Admiral Claire Thompson stood in the command center of Terra Station, watching dozens of screens showing fleet movements across human space. Red dots marked incoming ships as every available vessel raced toward Earth. The largest military mobilization in human history was happening in less than a week. "Status report," she called to her staff. 70% of the fleet will be in position within 4 days, reported Captain Maya Stone, her tactical advisor. "The Outer Colony Defense Forces are evacuating civilians but staying to fight." "What about our allies?" "High Priestess Seraphina has awakened the war trees on 12 elvish worlds," Maya continued. "Their battle mages are coming out of retirement. Some of them fought in the last Great War 300 years ago." Thompson nodded grimly. The Human-Elf Alliance had been built on peaceful cooperation and trade. Neither species had expected to face a war like this. But that cooperation was about to become their greatest strength. On the forest world of Vilthara, ancient trees that had slept for centuries began to move. These were not ordinary trees, but living weapons created by elvish magic long ago. War trees stood hundreds of feet tall with bark like armor and branches that could reach into space itself. High Priestess Seraphina Dawnbringer walked among them, her staff glowing with power. She was old even by elvish standards, but her magic had never been stronger. The threat to both their species had awakened abilities that peaceful times had never required. "Iris Stormwind," she called to a tall elf woman practicing with an energy sword. "Are your battle maidens ready?" Iris nodded, her red hair flowing in the magical winds that surrounded the war trees. "We have 500 trained fighters ready to board human ships. Our magic can enhance their weapons and shields." "And Willow Moonbeam seers?" "Already at work," Iris replied. "They're trying to see the future movements of the Zephyrian fleet, but the enemy has some kind of psychic shielding that makes it difficult." Meanwhile, on Earth, General Nina Brooks coordinated with elvish war councils through quantum communication links. The meeting rooms were filled with both human officers, in military uniforms, and elvish mages in flowing robes. "Our biggest problem is numbers," Brooks explained, pointing to a holographic display. "Intelligence from Commander Hayes suggests the Zephyrians have at least 3 ships for every one of ours." "Numbers are not everything," said Sage Willow Moonbeam, her ancient voice carrying the wisdom of centuries. "They do not understand cooperation. They see only individual strength." "What do you mean?" asked Captain Diana Miller, commander of the human vessel Starfire. "Watch," Willow said. She gestured to 2 human technicians who were working with an elvish artificer named Luna Brightforge. The humans provided advanced computer systems, while Luna used her magic to enhance them. The result was technology that neither species could have created alone. "For 50 years, we have been learning from each other," Willow continued. "Human engineering improved by elvish magic, elvish abilities strengthened by human science. The Zephyrians know only domination. They have never experienced true partnership." This was true throughout the Alliance. Human ships now carried elvish crew members who could enhance engines with speed magic and strengthen shields with protective spells. Elvish vessels had human-designed weapon systems and communication arrays that worked faster than thought itself. In the asteroid field, Lisa Hayes watched the Zephyrian fleet preparing to move out. Her small team had become the eyes and ears of the Alliance, reporting every ship movement and communication they intercepted. "They're splitting their forces," Beth Carter reported, studying the enemy formation. "Two-thirds are heading toward human space. The rest are moving toward the Elvish worlds." "They want to fight us separately," Dr. Kate Morrison said. She had recovered from the shock of their capture and was now analyzing Zephyrian tactics. "They think if they can defeat the humans quickly, the elves will surrender." "They're going to be very surprised," Lyra Starweaver said with a grim smile. Through her magical connection to the captured elves, she knew that Arya and the others were planning something desperate. On Admiral Vex's flagship, the prisoners had been separated as planned. The humans were in one section while the elves were held in specially shielded cells. But the Zephyrians had made a crucial mistake. They thought elvish magic was like their own psychic powers, something that could be simply blocked. Captain Arya, Moon Whisper, sat in her cell, appearing to meditate peacefully. But she was actually reaching out with abilities the Zephyrians could not detect. Elvish magic was connected to life itself, to the bonds between all living things. No technology could completely block that connection. "Amy," she whispered to Lieutenant Amy Foster in the next section, "can you access the ship's internal communication system?" "Maybe," Amy replied through the ventilation system. "If I can reach the maintenance panel in my cell, why?" "We're going to give our people an advantage they won't expect," Arya said. "But I need you to trust me completely." While the prisoners planned their desperate gambit, the main fleets continued their race against time. Captain Maya Stone had developed a strategy that would use the unique abilities of the Human-Elf Alliance, but it required perfect timing. "We can't match them ship for ship," she explained to the Joint War Council. "But we can use our cooperation against their rigid hierarchy. Human ships with elvish crews can move and fight in ways they won't expect." "What about their superior technology?" asked Admiral Thompson. "That's where our mixed crews come in," replied battle-maiden Iris Stormwind. "Human engineering is excellent at adapting and improving. Elvish magic can enhance anything it touches. Together, we can create weapons and defenses they've never seen before." Sandra Price, a human lieutenant, raised her hand. "What about stealth? Operations? Small teams behind enemy lines?" "Exactly what I was thinking," Maya said. "Teams with both human technology specialists and elvish shadow dancers. We can hit their supply lines and communication networks." The plan was risky and required the kind of cooperation that the Alliance had been building for decades. But it was their only chance against a numerically superior enemy. As the Zephyrian invasion fleet finally began to move, both human and elvish worlds prepared for war. Ancient magic awakened alongside advanced technology. Species that had learned to work together now prepared to fight together. The war trees of Valthara stretched their branches toward the stars, while human factories worked day and night to produce new weapons. Elvish battle songs echoed through the corridors of human starships, while magic enhanced every system and weapon. In her command center, Admiral Thompson received a final message from Commander Hayes in the asteroid field. "The Beator, main Zephyrian fleet is moving out," Lisa reported. "They'll reach the outer colonies in 2 days. But Admiral, there's something else. Our people on their flagship are planning something. I don't know what, but Lyra says it will change everything." Thompson looked at the tactical display showing the approaching enemy fleet. Red dots representing thousands of Zephyrian ships moved steadily toward human and elvish space. But she also saw the green dots of the Alliance fleet moving to intercept them. "All units, this is Admiral Thompson," she broadcast to the entire Alliance fleet. "In 6 hours, we will face an enemy that believes in conquest and domination. They think we are weak because we choose cooperation over conflict. They think our alliance makes us vulnerable." She paused, looking at the mixed crews of humans and elves working together on every ship. "They're about to learn how wrong they are. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when free peoples stand together. For Earth, for Valthara, and for every world that chooses freedom over tyranny." The Alliance fleet moved into position as the Zephyrian invasion force approached. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin, and the outcome would determine the fate of every species that valued cooperation over conquest. In the asteroid field, Lisa Hayes watched the enemy fleet pass by their hiding place. Soon the shooting would start, and everything would depend on whether 50 years of friendship and cooperation could triumph over centuries of Zephyrian military might. The first Zephyrian attacks hit the outer human colonies exactly as predicted. Admiral Vex's forces swept down on 3 different worlds simultaneously, their advanced energy weapons cutting through planetary defenses like paper. The blue-skinned aliens had overwhelming firepower and seemed unstoppable. But they had not counted on the response. Lieutenant Sandra Price crouched in the shadows of a Zephyrian supply depot on the colony world of New Texas. Beside her, Nova Whisperleaf moved, silently through the darkness, her elvish shadow-dancing abilities making her nearly invisible even to advanced sensors. "Security patrol coming," Nova whispered, her pointed ears picking up sounds no human could detect. Sandra activated her cloaking device, enhanced with elvish illusion magic that Luna Brightforge had woven into the circuits. The technology and magic working together created a perfect hiding system that confused both electronic and psychic detection methods. As the Zephyrian guards passed by, Sandra planted her explosives while Nova used her magic to make the devices completely undetectable. When they detonated in 30 minutes, the enemy would lose a major ammunition dump and still have no idea how it happened. This same scene played out on dozens of worlds as human-elf strike teams hit Zephyrian supply lines and communication networks. The rigid alien command structure began to show cracks as orders failed to reach their destinations and supplies disappeared. On Admiral Vex's flagship, the situation was becoming desperate in a different way. Dr. Kate Morrison had been moved to a research laboratory where Zephyrian scientists were trying to understand human technology. But what they did not know was that Kate was also in constant communication with Captain Aria through magical means. "The psionic dampeners are strongest in the detention sections," Aria's voice whispered in Kate's mind, "but here in the research lab, they're weaker." "What can I do?" Kate thought back. "In 30 minutes, Amy is going to cause a distraction. When she does, I need you to damage the main dampener control system. Can you do that?" Kate looked around the laboratory, filled with captured human and elvish technology. The Zephyrian scientists had been trying to reverse engineer everything, but they did not understand how the two technologies work together. "I think so," she replied. "There's a quantum processor here that looks like part of their dampener network." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Amy Foster had been studying the maintenance systems of the Zephyrian ship. Her cell was next to a major power junction, and she had been slowly loosening one of the connection panels every day. When the time came, Amy pulled the panel free and shoved her metal food tray into the electrical system. Sparks flew, and alarms began blaring throughout the ship as power fluctuated wildly. In the chaos that followed, Kate Morrison smashed the quantum processor with a heavy tool. The psionic dampeners throughout the ship flickered and failed for several crucial minutes. Captain Aria Moonwhisper felt her magic return like a flood of warm light. She had been planning for this moment since their capture. With a gesture, she melted the lock on her cell door and stepped into the corridor where confused Zephyrian guards were running toward the power failure. The other captured elves felt their abilities return at the same time. Celeste Nightglow created illusions that made the guards see empty corridors, while Lyra Starweaver used her nature magic to make the ship's metal walls grow thorns and vines. The prison break created chaos at exactly the worst moment for Admiral Vex. Her forces were already struggling with supply problems and communication failures. Now her own flagship was in rebellion. "Report!" she screamed at her bridge crew. "The prisoners have escaped," came the terrified reply. "They're using their magic to take control of entire sections of the ship." "Impossible. The dampeners are offline, Admiral. Something damaged the main control system." But the real surprise was yet to come. The Alliance fleet had finally arrived, and it was nothing like what the Zephyrians expected. Captain Diana Miller stood on the bridge of the Starfire, watching her mixed crew of humans and elves work in perfect harmony. Her engineer, Robin Clark, worked alongside elvish artificer Luna Brightforge to channel magical energy directly into the ship's weapons. "Weapon power at 200% of normal," Robin reported with amazement. "The magic is making our energy beams twice as strong." "Navigation, prepare for combat maneuvers," Diana ordered. At the navigation station, Melody Starlight used her elvish ship-singing abilities to coordinate with dozens of other vessels instantly. Her magical communication was faster than any electronic system and could not be intercepted or jammed. The Alliance fleet moved like a living thing, each ship knowing exactly where every other ship would be at every moment. The Zephyrians had never seen anything like it. Admiral Vex watched in growing horror as her numerically superior fleet began taking heavy losses. The Alliance ships moved in patterns that seemed impossible, anticipating every attack and striking at weak points with impossible precision. "How are they coordinating so perfectly?" she demanded. "Unknown, Admiral. Our communication intercepts are picking up nothing. It's as if they're reading each other's minds." In a way, they were. The Elvish. Crew members on each ship were connected through magical bonds that allowed perfect coordination. Human tactical skills combined with Elvish foresight created a fighting force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The battle raged across multiple star systems as the Zephyrian invasion force met the Alliance fleet. What should have been an easy conquest for the aliens became a nightmare of coordination and cooperation they could not match. Battle-maiden Iris Stormwind led boarding parties onto Zephyrian ships, her energy sword enhanced with lightning magic that cut through their advanced armor. Her human partner, Captain Maya Stone, provided tactical coordination that let the Elvish warriors strike at exactly the right moments. "Their command structure is too rigid," Maya observed, as they fought through another enemy ship. "They can't adapt when their orders stop making sense." "That is the weakness of those who rule through fear," Iris replied, deflecting energy beams with her magically enhanced shield. "They have soldiers, but not warriors, servants, but not allies." The tide of battle began to turn as more Zephyrian ships fell to the Alliance tactics. Admiral Vex found herself losing ships faster than she could count, while the Alliance fleet seemed to grow stronger with every victory. But the real turning point came when the escaped prisoners reached the bridge of Vex's flagship. Captain Aria Moonwhisper burst through the blast doors with her magic blazing, followed by Lieutenant Amy Foster and Dr. Kate Morrison. "Surrender," Aria commanded, her voice carrying the authority of centuries of Elvish leadership. "Never!" Vex snarled, drawing her personal weapon. "I am Zephyrian. We are the superior species." "No," Amy said, pointing her captured Zephyrian rifle at the Admiral. "You're just another bully who picked on the wrong people." As the battle for the flagship raged, the main fleet action continued across the star system. The Zephyrians had started with overwhelming numbers, but their losses were mounting while the Alliance fleet used magical healing to repair damage instantly and coordination that seemed supernatural to counter every move. Captain Diana Miller received a message from Admiral Thompson on the Alliance command ship. "Diana, we're detecting massive power fluctuations from the Zephyrian flagship. What's your status?" "We're seeing the same thing," Diana replied. "It looks like there's fighting aboard their command ship." "That would be our people," came a new voice. Commander Lisa Hayes had emerged from the asteroid field and was approaching the battle zone in her damaged shuttle. "Lisa, thank goodness you're alive," Thompson said. "What's the situation?" "Aria and the others have taken control of the Zephyrian flagship," Lisa reported. "The enemy fleet is starting to break apart without central command." It was true. Across the battle zone, Zephyrian ships were beginning to retreat or surrender as word spread that their admiral's flagship had fallen. The rigid command structure that had been their strength became their weakness when the center collapsed. The Alliance had won their first major victory, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Zephyrian Empire was vast, and Admiral Vex was just one commander among many. But they had proven something important. When free peoples worked together, they could defeat any tyrant. Admiral Zira Vex stood in the command center of her massive fortress ship, watching the tactical display with growing desperation. Half of her invasion fleet was gone, destroyed, or captured by the Alliance forces. The other half was retreating to the Proxima system for what she knew would be their final stand. "Status report," she demanded, her blue skin darker than usual with rage and fear. "We have 200 ships remaining," her tactical officer reported nervously. "The Alliance fleet is pursuing with approximately 150 vessels." "We still outnumber them," Vex said, trying to convince herself as much as her crew. "Our technology is still superior." But she knew the truth. The Human-Elf Alliance had proven that cooperation could overcome individual superiority. Their combined tactics and magical enhancements had turned every battle into a defeat for her forces. "Admiral," came another voice. "Long-range sensors. Detect Alliance strike teams moving through the outer system. They're targeting our supply bases and communication relays." Vex slammed her fist on the command console. These were the same small teams that had been harassing her forces since the Yei invasion began. Humans with their adaptable technology working alongside elves with their impossible magic, striking where they were least expected and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. In one of those strike teams, Lieutenant Sandra Price worked with Nova Whisperleaf to plant charges on a Zephyrian communication array. The two had become an perfect team, human engineering skill combined with elvish stealth, creating a force that could penetrate any defense. "That's the last relay in this sector," Sandra reported into her communicator. "The Zephyrians won't be able to coordinate their remaining ships." "Well done," came the voice of Captain Maya Stone from the Alliance command ship. "All teams, prepare for the final assault. Admiral Thompson wants every Zephyrian ship either captured or disabled. But Admiral Vex had one last desperate plan. Deep in her fortress ship was a weapon that could destroy entire planets. If she could not conquer the human and elvish worlds, she would make sure they burned. "Prepare the planet-killer weapon," she ordered. "Admiral, that violates every treaty of civilized warfare," her science officer protested. "There is no civilization except Zephyrian civilization," Vex screamed. "If we cannot rule, then let the galaxy burn." Meanwhile, the Alliance fleet moved into position around the Proxima system. Admiral Claire Thompson stood on the bridge of her flagship, surrounded by both human officers and elvish advisors. The cooperation that had begun 50 years ago was now their greatest weapon. "All ships, this is Admiral Thompson," she broadcast. "Intelligence reports that Admiral Vex has a planet-killer weapon aboard her fortress ship. Our mission is to stop her before she can use it." Commander Lisa Hayes piloted her rebuilt shuttle toward the enemy fortress, accompanied by Captain Arya Moonwhisper and a strike team of the best warriors from both species. Their mission was simple, but deadly dangerous. Board the enemy ship and stop the weapon. "Remember," Arya said to the team as they approached the massive Zephyrian vessel, "we are not here for conquest. We are here to protect life itself." Engineer Robin Clark worked frantically at her console, while Luna Brightforge channeled magic into the ship's systems. "I'm detecting the weapon's energy signature," Robin reported. "It's in the center of the ship, heavily defended." "Can we reach it?" Lisa asked. "Not through normal corridors," Robin replied. "But if Luna can use her magic to soften the ship's hull, I might be able to cut through with our plasma torch." The boarding action was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human technology and elvish magic worked together to overcome every obstacle. Where Zephyrian energy barriers blocked their path, Luna's magic found ways around them. Where alien armor proved too strong, Robin's engineering created new solutions. As they fought their way deeper into the ship, they encountered fierce resistance from Zephyrian guards. But the Alliance team fought with a coordination that their enemies could not match. Every human knew exactly where every elf would be, and every elf anticipated every human's needs. Battle Maiden Iris Stormwind led the combat team, her energy, sword enhanced with lightning magic cutting through enemy weapons and armor. Beside her, Captain Diana Miller provided tactical support and covering fire with weapons that had been enhanced beyond anything the Zephyrians had faced. "We're getting close," Dr. Kate Morrison reported, studying her scanner. "The weapon is just ahead. But there are massive energy readings. I think they're trying to activate it." In the weapon control chamber, Admiral Vex worked desperately to bring the planet killer online. Her remaining crew was terrified but still followed orders. They had been taught from birth that Zephyrians were superior to all other life, and that belief was all they had left. "Weapon charging at 60%, reported the weapons officer. "Target locked on the human home world." "Excellent," Vex said with savage satisfaction. "When Earth burns, the Alliance will collapse. The elves will surrender rather than see more worlds destroyed." But she had made the same mistake that had doomed her invasion from the beginning. She did not understand that the Alliance was built on more than just treaties and trade agreements. It was built on genuine friendship and mutual respect. The blast. Doors to the weapon control chamber exploded inward as Lisa Hayes and her team broke through. The final battle began immediately as Zephyrian guards opened fire with everything they had. Surrender the weapon, Lisa called out over the sound of energy beams and explosions. Never, Vex screamed back. Zephyrians do not surrender to inferior species. The battle raged through the control chamber as both sides fought desperately. The planet-killer weapon continued charging, its deadly energy building toward the moment when it could destroy an entire world. Captain Aria Moonwhisper found herself face-to-face with Admiral Vex herself. The Zephyrian admiral was larger and stronger, her crystalline formations glowing with psychic power. But Aria had something Vex could never understand. You think we are enemies, Aria said, deflecting Vex's psychic attacks with her magic. But we could have been friends? Friendship is weakness, Vex snarled, striking out with energy claws. No, Aria replied, calling on not just her own power but the strength of every alliance between human and elf. Friendship is the strongest force in the universe. The magical energy that flowed through Aria was not just her own, but the combined will of two entire species who had chosen cooperation over conquest. It overwhelmed Vex's individual power completely. As the Zephyrian admiral fell, engineer Robin Clark reached the weapon controls. It's still charging, she shouted. 80% and rising. Can you stop it? Lisa asked. I'm trying, but the safety systems are locked out. If this thing reaches full charge, it will fire automatically. That was when Luna Brightforge stepped forward. The elvish artificer placed her hands on the alien control systems and began to sing in the old language. Her magic reached into the very heart of the machine, not to destroy it, but to heal the damage that its existence represented. What are you doing? Robin asked in amazement as the weapon's charge began to drop. Teaching it to choose life over death, Luna replied simply. The planet-killer weapon powered down completely, its deadly energy dissipating harmlessly into space. Around the Proxima system, the remaining Zephyrian ships surrendered as word spread that their admiral had fallen, and their ultimate weapon was gone. But Admiral Vex had one final act of spite. As she lay dying from her injuries, she activated a hidden self-destruct system that would take the entire fortress ship with her. If I cannot win, then no one wins, she gasped. Lisa looked around at her team, human and elf alike, and made a decision that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Everyone stay together, she ordered. We're not leaving anyone behind. As the self-destruct countdown began, the Alliance team worked together one final time. Human engineering and elvish magic combined to create an escape route that should have been impossible. They carried their wounded, protected their weak, and made sure that everyone made it to safety. Even some of the Zephyrian crew, seeing this display of loyalty and sacrifice, chose to follow the Alliance team rather than die with their ship. The fortress exploded in a brilliant flash of light, but everyone who wanted to live had been saved. The Zephyrian Empire's invasion was over, their fleet destroyed or captured, their admiral dead by her own hand. In the aftermath, as the Alliance fleet regrouped and began the long journey home, something remarkable happened. Across the galaxy, other species that had been oppressed by Zephyrian rule began to rise in rebellion. The news that the mighty Empire could be defeated by cooperation and friendship spread faster than any fleet could travel. Commander Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge of the rebuilt New Dawn, watching stars that were now free from tyranny. Beside her, Captain Aria Moonwhisper smiled with the satisfaction of a job well done. The Zephyrians never understood, Aria said softly. They thought strength came from dominance. They never learned that real strength comes from standing together. Dr. Kate Morrison looked up from her research station where she was studying captured Zephyrian technology. Some of their scientists want to join the Alliance. They're tired of serving an empire that valued conquest over discovery. What do you think? Lisa asked. I think everyone deserves a chance to choose cooperation over conquest, Aria replied. Even former enemies. And so the Alliance grew, not through force, but through example. The galaxy learned that diversity was strength, that cooperation was more powerful than domination, and that friendship could overcome any tyranny. The Zephyrians had attacked expecting easy victory over inferior species. Instead, they had discovered the price of arrogance and the power of those who choose to stand together.